Yeah. All right, y'all. So y'all already know, man. We Talk Weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gergen, the beautiful.
Class Lady Sparkle.
Yeah, and the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
And we are definitely in the building today. Long day, windy day. Trash cans flying all across the street. You know how you coming through the park on Parkside, and you go down to get ready to go up. I had to turn all the way around because a tree fell in the middle of that place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So you know how
crazy.
it always floods right there. Yeah, hyperlocal news. If you're going that way, you got to go under the bridge. Don't go there. I think that's going towards like Martin Luther King Drive or something like that. They call it that. So you don't want to go there. Had to turn all the way back around and then hit Parkside to Girard Avenue instead of going over that under that bridge. And so it was backed up, needless to say. But yeah. So how was your day? Holla at me.
It was cool. I went to the gym today. I was too sore the other day, but I got my workout in. And I ain't gonna say the gym I go to because some call it the Section 8 gym, but
Section 8
they
gym.
got I was impressed. I upgraded and I got massages, like a hydro bed.
Oh yeah.
They got the
In the Section 8 gym?
Yeah, that's what they be
man,
calling
okay.
it compared to the other ones. But I guess I'm on Section 8 because I'm a member and I like it. But that was I had a good workout this morning.
Wow.
I had a very good workout. So
No doubt.
Yeah.
Doubt. What about you, Lauren? Suzu?
Oh my gosh, how much time you got?
Yeah, we got enough time.
Yeah.
Because I spent my second half of yesterday and today in car dealerships with my son, who has purchased his first car.
That's what's
which
up.
yeah, I'm excited for him. But let me tell you how I had to prep my son, because I'm like, you got to do your homework before you go in this car dealership. You got to know they're going to ask you X, Y, and Z. You got to have responses ready. You got to stand firm. And if you gotta walk, you gotta walk.
I want a car. I'm gonna go and get a car.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
I mean, he pretty much had a good, after I prepped him, and I'm like, these are negotiating tactics. These are the things that they say when they try to get you. This is what you need to be prepared for. But he was prepared, and
because Mama prepared them.
exactly. I just was like,
What'd he get?
He ended up getting he got a 2022 Dodge Charger RT.
That's better than mine.
Yeah.
RT. Oh, he's speeding.
That's like them Hellcats. Like,
Yeah, RT is the one
yeah.
under that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
yeah.
couldn't even be mad at him because I had a Charger before and I loved my Charger. I did, but they're not good in good weather. Yeah, that too.
You got to put a lot of. I wanted one and I was like, let me rent one first. I
Yeah.
said that I can't get
Yeah,
it.
not with all that. Yeah, the
It's
gas.
Yeah, but that's what's up. He got a
Yeah.
nice car.
Yeah,
That's his mama.
yeah,
And he got a good deal.
Yeah, the first place, and you know how it all goes back to what I was teaching him about credit. You got to stay on top of your credit. You have to protect your credit. So, like, put him on my credit card years ago when he was probably like 16 or something like that. And he has good credit from that. That's how he was able to get the loan on his own.
Yeah.
So I was glad about that
that's
because I
dope,
didn't want to
yeah.
be a co-signer.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just you teaching your children and grooming them and preparing them for, like, when they get older, you can kind of,
That's right.
Yeah.
you
Make
know,
sure
they're
you
in
tell him
good
about
hands.
repo too. Make sure you
Oh,
tell
he
him
knows about that.
Okay,
I told him about that.
They
I'm
don't
like,
play, yeah.
you missed them payments.
That's right.
That's on your
You
credit
got his
for 10
good
years.
credit, and then repo mess your whole credit up.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, he good.
Yeah.
Though. That's
Second.
what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
What's up with you, C? Today starts a day for you, right?
Yeah, long day. Yeah, it's Ramadan. The holy month from Ramadan. All us brothers, Muslims out there celebrating. I can say we celebrate. Because this is what we do it for, right?
What is Ramadan?
Ramadan is the holy month of Ramadan where Muslims fast, right? And they say this is when the devil's locked up. You know what I mean? And we want to make sure that we do the right thing during this month. This is the only month that they asked for. So we can do it, right? And so if you're out there and y'all feel like y'all struggling, just hold on. It's only 1 month out of a full year, right? And then when Eid comes, we celebrate, the completion of Ramadan, right? Then you can ball out. And ball out, rock out with your means, as they say. But yeah, that's what that's about. So I was a little tired today. The first week is a little rough because you're not used to it, right?
Always.
But you get excited about it, so sometimes it passes. But then when it starts to tick down and you start looking at your watch like, yo, we got 5 minutes left before we eat, that type of thing, yeah. But it get real in the paint. So Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Kareem to everybody that's out there that's celebrating. Yeah, and that's how we get down. Yeah, for sure.
What's up?
Yeah. And so we're going to jump right into it. You ready for me?
Always.
All right, let's get into the good news and bad news from Classy Lady Sparkle. Holla at me early.
All right. I got the good news and the bad news for y'all. So I'm going to call this one. Here's your 60-second Trump White House update.
Uh-oh.
All right, so a California judge told the Trump administration not so fast after they tried to fire probationary federal workers across agencies like the FBI and the IRS. The administration wanted employees to list 5 things they did weekly. The judge ruled against Trump administration, ruling that the Office of Personnel Management exceeded its authority. Here's another update. Trump's budget passed the House, slashing $800 billion from Medicaid. It also cut taxes by $4.5 trillion and boosts defense spending. Healthcare advocates are sounding the alarm. Goodness gracious. Here's another one.
Hold on. So what does that mean for people?
I don't want to say a lot of different things, but Medicare, Medicaid they're basically looking at what's being allocated for resources for people that are on Medicaid and Medicare. Now, granted, they have found, like even through Social Security, that there are people at 150 years old that are still receiving
that was
money.
crazy.
So they're doing the similar thing, I believe, with the Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay.
But unfortunately, when they're messing with these, there are people, like I have an autistic niece, and she gets Medicare. And she's disabled, so her benefits may be affected if they're doing something with it. So whatever they're doing, I hope that it's the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Another update: Trump is pushing to eliminate federal taxes on overtime pay and tips. Did y'all hear about this?
That's great.
Yeah, the House supports it, but guess what?
What's that?
Unfortunately, the Democrats voted against this.
What?
Yes.
Please cut it out.
There was Democrats. It was 215 to 217. And there was one Republican as well. So it's still, the laws are still being written about it.
That
but
makes absolutely
they
no
are,
sense.
he is trying to sign so this one is a good news part. All right.
Hold on, wait. You can't run by that. Because I'm so pissed off of that, especially when...
I'm like, the overtime. You know how many times I'll be like, for what? They just going to tax it.
Yeah. But I'm even talking about just the tips, because we've been the Democrats been advocating for better wages.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And
the tips is huge too,
but no, this is what I'm saying. And so if we are arguing that we need at least $15 minimum wage, a lot of us, because I used to be in this sector, I was a bartender.
Okay.
So we would get tips, right? And they would get taxed.
Absolutely.
We didn't always get all our tips.
Yeah.
Right? They would give them to us on the back end, or we had to claim that, which is taxed again. I'm only was I only
1099.
I was only getting what?
Trickles.
Like $5 an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
So how can in one ear you talking about increase the minimum wage, since the minimum wage hasn't been increased? We get tips, and you're okay with them continuing to tax the tips?
I think it's the deliverer. Maybe they're like, we don't even want that messenger. That's the only thing, because I know that working people have, for me,
that makes no sense.
As a mother, a wife, as when I was a wife and a mother, and I would work overtime. And by the time I got that money, and I knew it was for sneakers, food, and household items, they taxed it.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, I might as well not even work overtime.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I tried to look into this months ago, before, when it was more so of like a part of the campaign pitch. And what I did find at that time was that, you know, businesses claim your tips as their income. So if there's no tax on it, the tax doesn't really benefit the person that's
Oh wow!
getting the tip if the business is claiming. I can't remember. I don't, because it was a while ago since I looked that up. But
Right.
you know, I can't remember if that's exactly how it went, and if that was why there was kind of pushback on it. Because the businesses claim, you know, you have to enter your tips,
Right.
and if like the businesses are claiming that is their income and they're not being taxed on it, the tax doesn't necessarily benefit the person that.
But aren't they double dipping though? Because then
Yeah,
they're
that's what I was
taxing
gonna say, yeah.
they're taxing the employer, but they're counting as income. But then as soon as they give it to the employer, they're taxing.
Yeah,
them.
because on my check, I remember it saying, like, the check that they give to me, I remember it saying, like, this is how much you made. Like, it came up to like $250 like for the week, and then it said tips. Tips came up to maybe like 150 or something like that, and it's all said minus, and this was minus was the taxes. And so I was just like, yo, how y'all taxing me on the tips that I was supposed to get, not necessarily under the table, but this is the tips that I'm making on top of what you already taxed me from what you're paying me in terms of my salary. Right. So that particular, I just don't get, I don't get
Yeah,
that.
I think we would have to
kinda-
look into the legislation
yeah.
that's trying to be passed. Is it no tax on tips for employers, or is it no tax on tips for the employee?
Good question.
Yeah, because I'm under
I
the
thought it
context
was.
it's just me.
I thought it was just a umbrella of tips, which
Yeah.
I thought was the employee. Because how could the employer? I don't know. But good question. I'll look
Yeah,
into
that's
that.
good for-
All right. So did y'all see the blow up with Trump and Zelensky?
That's crazy.
Ukraine's President Zelensky left the White House early after a tense Oval Office meeting with Trump and Vance. That was a lot. That was a lot, and I know everybody's going to give y'all thoughts on that one. What do y'all think? That was it unpresidential that he treated our guest like that, Zelensky, or was it presidential? Is he feeling like he needs to stand up because they feel like the U.S. was not, standing up? So I know Zelensky. I know that Ukraine wasn't our enemy. They were like allies. So it seems a little weird, So
Yeah.
all right, this next one, and that was your 60-second Trump White House update.
I made it longer. My bad. I should have put
That's
it in.
okay.
You
That's
should-
all right.
Just tell me to be quiet. Man.
All right, so the U.S. measles outbreak has reached 164 cases across the 9 states, with Texas being hit the hardest at 146 cases, and the first measles-related child death since 2015. Most cases involve unvaccinated children, with 18 hospitalizations. Measles is highly contagious, spreading to 90% of unvaccinated people exposed can cause severe complications. All right, so the measles shot is called the MMR. The MMR vaccine is safe and effective. Health officials urge immediate vaccination to curb the outbreak. New Jersey has 3 cases in Bergen County, prompting exposure warnings. Authorities are working to contain the spread. That's oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of troubled about that, because I know they were saying like, oh well, this is, this one death is basically like, oh, it's nothing, but it's the one in like we haven't had one in a decade or something like that.
And
And
yeah, since 2015. Yep, since that one. But the thing is that I remember,
shouldn't be any.
right, and I remember getting my kids get their MMRs. I got mine, but in health, if there's different strains. So when those 30, 40 years ago are not the same strains as it is now, even though
right.
it's collectively called the same thing.
Right.
So they're giving out newer vaccines that help with those, with those strains, but people who already had it, they may be susceptible to it for a different strain. So, all right, the next story is about Microsoft. Microsoft has announced that Skype will be permanently shutting down
man.
on May 5th of 2025 after 22 years of service. Thank you, Skype, for your service. Yeah. This decision allows Microsoft to focus on its Teams application. So Skype owns Teams. Yeah. Microsoft purchased Skype in 2011 for guess how much? $8.5 billion.
In 2018?
And Skype in 2011.
In 2011.
Yes. Microsoft purchased Skype in 2011 for $8.5 billion, was its largest at the time. But the service's statuses has decreased in recent years, and they said that there have been no job cuts with the change.
Oh, that's
So
good.
that's yeah. So
Shout out to Microsoft.
Yeah, but I guess those same Skype people just probably moved over to Teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. A man drove 700 miles. Yes, 700 miles just to set his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend house on fire in Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
According to authorities, the 21-year-old Harrison Jones traveled all the way from Michigan. Fueled by rage and heartbreak when he got to Philly, he allegedly torched his ex-girlfriend's current boyfriend's home and ran to his car, which was parked a block away, which all was caught on camera. So they seen him running.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, and he actually met this ex-girlfriend online. So luckily it said that the 6 people were injured, but there's nothing life-sustaining. But
guy?
that guy, yes, he's the suspect. Yep. But the suspect is now facing arson charges and 6 counts of attempted homicide.
Wow.
Watch what you do.
So be careful, y'all.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm like, I seen the light flicker, and I'm like, is he here?
I know, right?
Is he coming
We
here?
locked up in either.
Yeah, all right. This last story is a tragic case. It's a tragic case out of New York City. 6 correctional officers are now facing murder charges after the brutal death of a man in prison. The victim, 45-year-old John Sudds, was reportedly beaten to death inside his cell. Officials say the officers used excessive force, leading to fatal injuries. Sudds' family is demanding justice, and prosecutors are making it clear that no one is above the law. The officers have been suspended, and if convicted, they could face some serious prison time. This case is shining spotlight on abuse in the prison system. And how many of these cases have gone like this that have gone unnoticed? Yeah. So that's your good news and your bad news from Classy Classy Lady Sparkle. I don't know, the one with the Microsoft. That's Teams is good, and then I guess the tips and the overtime. That one not too bad.
Yeah, I guess you could say that's the. Skype is the old version of Zoom. Or Zoom is the new version of Skype.
Yeah.
I guess you could say something.
I mean,
like
Teams is very similar.
Teams. Nobody knew Teams unless you was in a corporate setting, though, right? Because they are the ones who generally use Teams. People within the corporate sector. But if you just a general, like they call it GDI, you were using Zoom.
I can agree with that.
There's other platforms like what we use, StreamYard, and a few other things, and but nah, that's dope.
Is Jabba? I know Jabba's I don't know if that's like where you can do the visual. I know they do a lot of messaging, but
I don't know about
you
that.
ever
One.
heard Jabba? Oh,
I never even heard of that.
Jabba.
Yeah.
Shabba.
No doubt.
Somebody gonna be like, yeah, I heard of Jabba.
Yeah, I heard of Jabba. That's why. So, this story makes me think of why I have been seeing. As soon as I turn on my computer, I don't know if y'all iOS people see this, but as soon as we turn on a computer now, even at work, I get this new kind of Microsoft 365 pop up that's been coming up. So I'm sure they're doing like some reworking and retweaking as it relates to their organization. And so Microsoft 3, and I just seen something that's popping up selling a full, I guess, lifetime Microsoft 365 for like $100 or something like that.
Oh, that's about time.
Yeah, I
Because
know,
I'll
right?
be like,
Yeah.
where's give me the serial number. Let me go ahead and
know,
find
right?
somebody who can, or, if you're a student or, you used to put the CD back in the day because them prices was nutty. I was like, yeah, $300
Send cereals over.
Yeah,
right?
only for a year. Get out of here.
pocket.
Yeah, that's why
disrespectful.
Google Suite took over because they were able to give you a lot of the same things.
That's right.
Right.
And and then it's still it's like you can bring it up any and everywhere. So it was like they had to do something.
Yeah, Adobe, you can learn from that also. Adobe.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
Adobe be tripping too.
Drawn, but it's a lot of other things that's popping up. So Adobe better tighten up.
Yeah, because if you want to text inside the form, you gotta pay upgrade. Like what? I'll scan this drawing and be
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
like
Yeah,
so.
yeah, the PDF documents you're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gergen, the beautiful
Classy Lady
and the
Sparkle.
beautiful.
Lawrence.
I don't want you guys go nowhere when we come back. Maybe we go into some stories if our guest isn't here. They should have already been on by now. But we'll be right back. Y'all don't go nowhere. Let's go to one of our wonderful young reporters. Shout out to Ella. Yeah, let's go to Ella.
News, reporter Ella presents a new recipe that can help feed the community. Over to you, Ella.
Thanks, Willow. Now that fall is upon us, what's not a better way to start the fall season than an easy and simple recipe? Pumpkin bread is the most delicious and easiest food you can make for yourself, family and friends, and your community. Take a look. Today we're going to make pumpkin bread, so make sure you screenshot this recipe and let's get started. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. In one of your bowls, mix your flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and pumpkin pie spice. With your fork, mix. Now with your second bowl, mix your sugar, oil, and applesauce with a whisk. Once everything is mixed together, add your pumpkin and mix again. When everything is mixed evenly, combine both mixtures together. Make sure you scrape everything out so nothing is wasted. Now mix evenly until there's no lumps. After that, you want to set that aside and grab your bread pan. Lather some butter all around and add a little flour and spread it around until it looks like this. Now you want to pour the bread batter into the bread pan. Make sure you scrape everything out so nothing is wasted. Cut a line in the middle and it's ready for the oven. Make sure you wear oven mitts and let the bread bake for 60 minutes. Once the 60 minutes is up, take it out of the oven and let it sit for a few minutes. When the bread pan is safe to touch, use a straight edge to separate the pan and bread. This step is optional, but if you would like, slice the bread into thick slices and it should look something like this. You are all done. Dig in and enjoy your pumpkin bread. This pumpkin bread is the perfect way to feed your family, friends, and your community. Willow, what did you think about this recipe?
I think that this recipe is perfect for the rising fall weather. Substituting the egg with the applesauce is a great option for others with an egg allergy.
Thanks, Willow. I'm Ella Guanzon reporting for Youth Civic News. Back to you, Willow.
Shout out to Ella, one of our young reporters from U Civic News. We want you guys to make sure that you support U Civic News. We've been in the lab producing a platform, producing some support for the new young journalists, right? And so we call them We Talk Weekly Fellows, and we did this by way of Youth Civic News. And so it was a dynamic time and collaboration with the Film Factory to get these young people, these young youth out here to really start the research, understand just the idea of what it takes to put together a story, to understand what a beat is, to understand what media literacy is, journalism, right? And so it's a dynamic time for a lot of these young people who are interested in doing what we do, doing what people are doing in the hyper-local ecosystem, right? And so before we go into, we're still waiting for our guests, we're going to go right into Willow, another young reporter from Youth Civic News. He did some research and wanted to jump on her beat, and I think it was politics. So we'll be right back, y'all.
Hi, I'm Willow Jordan with Youth Civic News, and I'm here with my grandfather.
Willie Jordan.
And G-Pop, what brings you out tonight?
Well, I'm here to discuss the importance of the election that's coming up, and the important of responsibility that we have to do is get out to vote.
What is your role?
I wear many hats, but one is a community activist, and that means to keep people aware and make them informed on the issues of the day, so they can come out and make a good choice on voting for the right candidates.
What are some of the issues you see?
Housing, education, transportation. There's a lot of things. Anything that we do in our lives has to do with elections, politicians, elected officials making those decisions. The amount of time that you stay in school and the amount of days you stay in school is based on what some elected official came up with.
How important is it to vote?
It is very important. It's not just important, it's responsible. Voting is not a selfish activity. It's a selfless. You vote to help others. So as you help others, people help you, and it'll be a better world, a better city, a better country to live in.
Where do some of your beliefs come from?
Well, my belief is based on, I would first come from my home training. My parents told me the importance of civic responsibility, caring, loving, sharing, being involved, being responsible on your actions.
Is there any positive knowledge you would give to the people who don't vote?
I would tell them, if they can't come up with a reason why they should vote for themselves, come up with a reason why they should vote for someone else, for their parents, for their children, for more street lights, how they want a better community. Do it for someone else.
I'm Willow Jordan, reporting from Youth Civic News, and I'm here with my grandfather, Willie Jordan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My young, that's like my, how can I put it, like my little niece. You know what I mean? She got there, she did her stuff, and was very proud of her, very proud of her work and the growth that I've seen in Willow, and just an amazing time that we had in teaching. And that's just something that we love to do when it comes to those kids, when it comes to the youth. If you don't give them some direction, they're going to choose a direction, right? And so you want to give them options to directions, right? All of them may not choose the right one. Most of them will, right? Or what we define as the right one, something that's going to give them options later on down the way. Because there's a lot of things that's out there that's giving them different options that they're taking. That's confusing them, and which is the reason why we teach a lot about media literacy. So the things that they're seeing, the content that they're consuming is pushing them a certain way. And if you don't give them the tools to understand certain things in terms of the visuals that they're consuming, they're going to make decisions. And those decisions may not always be the correct decision to make. But if you don't give them the tools or the insights to be a little bit more discerning with their choices, then all we can do is say it might be our fault because we didn't give them those options, right? We didn't give them those tools. And so I'm going to pass it to Sizzle. Sizzle, you ready for me?
Yeah. Am I?
Yeah, you just go ahead. Why don't you talk a little bit about, Youth Civic News, or definitely what's coming up next as it relates to like the voting, because that's something else that's very important. And then go into your story. Sure.
So with Youth Civic News, that was a cohort that was created for 12 weeks to provide civic engagement, media literacy, digital media skills training, reporting, journalism, all that stuff to youth ages 13 to 20. It was 24, but I think we had
18, yeah.
13, 18. Yeah, but to give them the skills that they can create their own content, be civically engaged. So a lot of them, the young ladies that you just saw on there, they were our youth reporters, and they were reporting on civic news and all that. So that's something that we're looking to start again. So we'll have more information on that. But just remember that upcoming election, the primary election is May 20th. So your last day to register to vote is going to be May the 5th. The last day to request a mail-in or absentee ballot is May 13th. So there's also some special elections in PA, which I was looking for, the one that's here in Philadelphia.
For the judges.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 judges, but those, if you go to Committee of 70, they have
shout out to Committee of 70.
yeah, they have an amazing 2025 voter guide, which pretty much breaks down like who's running, what positions they're running for, and what those positions do. Because a lot of times people go to the polls and they know they may, even if they don't know who's running, they know of the positions, but not exactly what those positions will do.
What's that site again?
Committee of 70.
Oh, okay.
If you go to 70.org, and then there's like the 2025 voter guide, and it has pretty much all the information. We're going to be voting for city controller, district attorney, the judges of elections, the inspector of elections, those. And when you go to each one, you can click on what we're going to be voting for, and it gives a nice kind of short breakdown of what those positions do. So whoever the incumbent is, they pretty much have to do that.
This was it. Didn't you report on this? Is this accurate?
Yes.
Yep, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the voting dates. I was just looking for the exact date for the special election. I saw something about May 25th, but I just want to confirm that,
Yeah,
so I
no,
can kind of mention that.
So let me go over this while you kind of prepare for that. So make sure you vote. Make sure you register to vote. College address, or you could. Oh, cool. You can use your college. I forgot about that. You can actually use your college address, right? Definitely your home address, but important election dates. May 5th is the last day to register to vote in the municipal primary. You can go to vote.pa.gov/register. May 13th, last day to apply for a mail ballot. You can go to vote.pa.gov/mail ballot. And May 20th, election day. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Completed mail ballots must be received by 8 p.m. Vote.pa.gov/polls. You can go to vote.pa.gov. Just go to vote.pa.gov and make sure that you get on the site and just easily navigate. It's really easy to navigate and find what you need. Yep.
So the March 25th special election day is correct. The last day to register to vote for that is March 10th, and the last day to request a mail-in ballot is March the 18th. So that's a special election for the PA Senate District 36, the PA House 35 seat. And, the special election is kind of like a general election, which means that any registered voter may vote in this race.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not like you need to have some type of special privileges. No, you can just be a regular registered voter to vote. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And it's important too. Yeah. Like, people don't realize that. I think that special election is some of the judicial system.
That's one of the most important, especially if you're in Philly.
Yeah, so when you're saying why did little Johnny or little Mika, what happened when they went to court and this judge was unfair, it's because these are the people that when you don't vote,
that's right,
they're getting voted in.
Exactly.
So
that's right.
Learn who you're voting for, and
exactly. Yeah. All right, so the disgraced influencers, the Tate brothers, they arrived back in United States to Fort Lauderdale Florida after travel restrictions were lifted, allowing them to return. So Governor Ron DeSantis is adamant that the Tate brothers are not welcome in the state of Florida, stating his plans for his administration's investigation into the brothers who have dual citizenship in the U.S. and they are British citizens as well. So 38-year-old, if you don't know who they are, 38-year-old brother Andrew Tate, he is the one that's the former professional kickboxer and self-proclaimed misogynist who garnered 10 million followers on X. And both Andrew and his younger brother, 36-year-old Tristan Tate, are staunch vocal supporters of President Donald Trump. The pair have been banned on numerous social media sites for hate speech and chauvinistic comments about women taking responsibility for being sexually assaulted. So in 2022, the brothers, along with 2 other women, were arrested and charged with rape and human trafficking in Romania. So multiple female victims were lured to Romania, where they were trafficked and physically abused. And back in March 2023, the brothers were granted an appeal to move from, they were in custody at that time, and they were granted an appeal to move from custody to house arrest. So their Twitter accounts were reinstated when Elon Musk took over. And the Associated Press reports a Trump official expressed interest in the Tate brothers' case, which sparked outrage from conservative officials. While the Tate brothers have denied all allegations, Andrew Tate spoke to reporters when the brothers arrived in Florida, and he just said, "We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, things that go around about us on the internet, and there has this is what he was explaining to reporters, but there has been public outcry because many of the Tate brothers' followers are school-aged children and young men. But ironically enough, MAGA supporters and the Tate brothers fans are excited to have them back and in the state of Florida, but their case is still pending. So they still have this active case in Romania, but the travel ban was lifted, allowing them to come over here.
And who's excited?
Well, you know, they had all these 10 million fans who have kind of still been following the brothers since their arrest back in 2022. So the fans are all excited. And then you have the MAGA supporters. They're also, I guess, supporting him, the brothers too, as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So.
Yeah. One of them, I think I remember, he was very arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's always talking about money and different ways to obtain it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the younger one or the older one?
It's the older one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what the outcome is with that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I don't hear that hitting the waves though, like Diddy's. And do you? No. Did you? Yeah.
What? No.
I don't hear it.
Well, it was. I mean, it was pretty prevalent. His thing been.
They ain't do a documentary and all that stuff.
Well, his thing been out for a long time, man. Like his situation with this trafficking, it's been in the justice system for a long time. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, it wasn't. It was even before the Diddy situation, right? So they had Andrew Tate under the microscope for a long time, and so that's why
I remember when he got locked up. I just don't remember it being as, like I said.
Well, he's not from here either,
But he's well
and
known.
he's not like a Diddy though.
Okay, yeah.
He's not like a Diddy. He's like more of a influencer that got big. But if you're not necessarily like in that ecosystem, you wouldn't know about an Andrew Tate. Just like you ain't know which one he was, right?
Right.
To that point.
Yeah,
right?
but I know who he is.
Yeah, but you didn't
I
know.
didn't even know his name.
Yeah. So that said,
True.
Diddy is a cultural icon. So you know Diddy, heard of Diddy, know somebody
Puffy.
Diddy, listen to something about Diddy, so no Diddy. No Diddy.
I think I'm still at the age where I stay Puffy.
Okay.
I was saying Diddy, but it's real like Puff, I guess.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Right.
That's funny. And so, what else is in the news? Well, none of our guests is here, so let's see what else was in the news today. I seen So shout out to, I want to say Howard's. Let me see. Let me make sure I get this.
Well, why you
Go ahead.
looking
No,
for
for
that?
sure, yeah.
Let's just double back to Spark's story of Zelensky and Trump, because
Oh,
I'd like
gosh,
to know
yeah.
what you thought about that.
I was trying to educate myself more on what the differences are. That first on, I don't think that when I watched it, I don't think that Zelensky was being disrespectful. Vance made it that he was being disrespectful. I think that English is his second language, so he was still trying to talk to two linguistics. And he may have said some words that culturally that we in the States may, or just English speaking people might say that that's a little bit, that you don't say. And I think that it got blown out of proportion. I really do. I don't think that the way that Trump got was needed, but I'm still trying to figure out if it's a bigger picture. Like, is this anger going towards Putin and Russia, opposed to letting them see that this is the outcome, and then he was just collateral damage, Zelensky was.
Right,
So
right,
I'm
right,
still
yeah.
trying to figure out that, I guess.
Yeah.
What are your
yeah.
thoughts?
I mean, I just was kind of, surprised, because I mean the entire meeting was almost an hour long, so it was like everything was fine up until these last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was when this, I mean, I don't know if because Zelensky asked JD Vance what was, because I forget where he went over to speak, and he went over to speak somewhere, and he was kind of talking about I guess Zelensky was asking him about his speech, if you could break down what you're saying, because of the speech. And I guess JD Vance was he just went from 0 to 60 and he just went off. But
That's crazy.
I didn't, and I didn't like when he said you're being disrespectful. You didn't even tell us thank you. That to me, he was just
and
kind
that
of
was not
belittling
true at all.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was belittling him at that moment. But what are your thoughts? Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it. I thought he was a little much. I mean,
Who, Zelensky?
No, Trump. I think Trump did a little way too much with that, but I mean, I guess he's trying to prove his dominance, or
That's what I'm thinking. Was it?
Because
Trump
he
is
was
nothing
fine
but
the whole
ego.
time. It was they were cool the whole time, and then it was when he
Vance.
asked Vance about that, Vance just got all hyped.
So
and
did
then
Vance? Is
Trump
he the
followed him.
is he the instigator?
Yeah,
That's
I think
what it
so.
seemed like to me.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I
Trump
think-
wasn't
yeah.
like that until
He
Vance
instigated
got like
it,
that.
saying you didn't even tell us thank you or tell the president. Yeah. So
Yeah, and which wasn't true. It was he's always been grateful of the support.
appreciative.
Yeah. And it just it was just seemed like one of the most awkward moments,
The whole
because
thing
it
was
was
awkward.
it just switched everything, and it was just you see this back and forth, and then the way they were talking to him, I just felt like they made him into a little kid, you would be scolding a little kid, I just felt sad for Zelensky, because I don't know, but I mean, when it comes to the deal that they're trying to put together, I can understand Zelensky's his stance in it, because it's if I'm going to come and agree to this deal, I need to make sure that the deal includes security for Ukraine.
I think it's going to be okay though. It's crazy how you can what statement I'm about to say, but he posted right. He put up a post, Zelensky as well as Trump, that they're going to be cordial.
Yeah.
So it sounds
yeah.
like it's going to. It's not going to be, I feel like we as the viewers may make it bigger than what it is, and I think it's not going to be as magnified as what we may think it is.
Yeah, and I think most people looking at this is not anything that they've ever seen when it comes to the United States interacting with other leaders from other countries. Yeah. So just for them to be shocked that this is going on, I agree with that, but everything about this new era that we're in is anything but normal. So
to even say you went on a post. Like,
right, exactly.
He put it, you know,
exactly.
he tweeted or
Yeah,
so.
but it's just crazy. And the measles, like, that part too. It's just, oh man, I just hate to see a lot of these crazy infections with the bird flu and all that stuff. It's just,
Well, it just shows how important the Department of Public Health is, right? If you're talking about taking funds away from departments that literally protects the entire community, then it's something to think about.
right, exactly.
But if you feel, you know, that what's happening in the country, it's okay, then, you know, don't get surprised when there's no. And I'm not a huge proponent of like vaccines, because I feel like there's a lot of big industries, right? Big pharma who generally don't care about the people and just make certain things to make money, right? That said, there's vaccines that has proven to work and help total communities, right? And so I just think there needs to be more conversation and more, how can I put it? It shouldn't be that easy to just, which it isn't, right? You can't just create a vaccine and just say, hey, here you go, right? They have to go through these checks and balances. But there's this thing about big pharma, man.
But some of the things that we've had, like I mentioned earlier, that they're 30 and 40, 50 years old. Now, over time, you do want something like a vaccination that has that type of time frame on it, because then you can have studies and research. But then you also know that there are times where it's that old that it needs to change.
That's right.
It needs to change, because if we have this amount of children who have autism, then what are we looking at to say? At one time they were looking at vaccinations. Are we looking at vaccinations now to say, and I'm not saying that vaccinations promote or give autism. I'm not saying that, but there have been research to look to say when this child is newborn and you're giving MMRs and you're giving the I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head, but the measles, those different ones. The child is 2 months old and they're getting like 5 shots. 5 shots. Their blood is still like, the cells are still developing. So is it more ideal to start a vaccination when they're at least 5 years old or 4 years old? Let their immune systems get to it. They're not even in school, sometimes in daycare. But if other kids are vaccinated, then how is the non-vaccinated kid a threat?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that there are things. I know RFK is now, at first he was for vaccinations and not. I am for balance. I think that vaccinations help, but I think some of them don't. There's one called HPV. My kids were younger. They were like, oh, we're going to do the HPV. And I said, well, that is for when you start to have sexual activity. They're not at that age. And then you have to get 3 series of them. But guess what? When I didn't give it to them, let's just say 10 years ago, now they said, oh, it's better to get it now because now they have 200 more strains that this one covers, opposed to the one they had 10 years ago, which only covered 60 strains. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So sometimes you just have to be your own advocate and research and find out what you're putting into your body. And you know, they're saying now COVID, if anybody got the COVID shot and your memory is not what it used to be, or you have fog, they're trying to say maybe it's the remnants of COVID, the vaccination.
Yeah.
But we won't know until 30 years from now.
And that's crazy.
Just see what the research and the study show. So
That's crazy.
No doubt. All right, well, there you go. I mean, I agree with you. 100% agree with you. We just got to do more work. We got to be more vigilant, and we have to pay attention to the things that we are consuming and putting in our bodies, period. And there's a reason why our ancestors was able to survive and do certain things without a lot of the medicines that we have and take and consume today. Because there's a lot of natural remedies that we just don't think about, or we just kind of lost the science of it. But start doing your research, start digging.
Yeah, but then we also got a lot of innovative therapy that they didn't have. Those machines and laparoscopic and surgeries, you used to get certain surgeries and be down. Now you're only down for like not even half the time. So like I said, it's a balance in it all. Don't look at just holistic medication and don't think Western medicine is helpful. But a lot of it times it's like, let those two worlds mirror and see what the better results can be.
No, that's right. Spark know that stuff. Yeah, that's her. That's her little ecosystem. She like, hold up, let me say something. let me sure.
Talk. I'm gonna tell y'all what I know.
Hold on. All right, let's jump in this story because I think it's necessary to talk a little bit about. So, Howard University. Let me read the story real quick. Howard University men's swimming and diving team has been making waves in collegiate swimming. Here are some key highlights. Recent achievement. The Howard, I think it's Bison. The Howard Bison claimed their second Northeast Conference NEC Championship title in 3 years. On February 23rd, 2025. This victory was secured in a thrilling finish with the team holding on to first place throughout the 4-day event and clinching the win in the final 400 free relay. Notable performances, Tristan Stevens set a personal best of 1 hour 47.9. Wow, that's a long time. In a 200 back final, Emerald Thompson 3 earned bronze in the 200 breast with a program record. Then we have Mason Green set a program record of, in the 200 fly. Zay Swally was named NEC Most Outstanding Diver, and after winning both the 1 meter and 3 meter dives. So coaching success. The coaching staff led by Nicholas Askew was named NEC Coaching Staff of the Year. The Courtney Miller earned Diving Coach of the Year. Coach Askew has been instrumental in revitalizing the program since taking over 8 years ago, creating an electric collegiate swimming environment, and attracting recruits from across the country and internationally. So we're going to talk a little bit about the historical significance. Howard University is the only historically black college or university, HBCU, with a varsity swimming team. That's why it's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the team has been breaking barriers and changing the landscape of collegiate swimming. They hosted the first Battle of the Burr in 2022, revolutionizing the approach to swim, meters, and DJ performances, dance troops, and large crowds. The program has broken over 60 school swim records during SQ tenure. Wow. Howard's success has inspired other schools to make swimming events more engaging and spectacular. And so that's a huge thing, historically bad HBCU winning such a title like that. Because generally, if I'm being honest, you don't think black folk can swim like that. You don't think black folk can swim like that. You know, and so our other brethren, they're usually more known to swim and break records and all that good old stuff. But this right here has a lot of brows going up, raising. And so kudos to them. They needed to be amplified. I didn't hear too many people talking about them. So we talking about them here. And it's pretty local. It's pretty local, you know? And so that's a good piece. What y'all think about that?
I think it's
good. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. I think I just love to see, you know, young black people of color, students or whatever, being involved in something other than, or seeing themselves in things other than the traditional sports and things that we tend to see ourselves in or push our children to be. I'm always an advocate of you know, telling young children that they can be more than just, don't aspire just to be like a basketball player or a professional basketball player or a professional football player or whatever, even though those things are great, but like there's so many other things that we can do and should be doing.
Yeah, no, you know? For sure. All right.
But yeah, shout out to Howard.
Yeah, shout out to Howard University. I love my black folk. I love my black folk. You had something to say, Spark? It looked like you. Okay, no, there we go.
Oh, I was singing blackity black,
Oh,
black,
black. I know that's right. I got another story here. So the Overbrook High School, that's my alma mater, right? Panthers, shout out to all the Panthers out there in Overbrook in the West Philadelphia area. They call it the Castle on the Hill. And so Overbrook High School women's basketball team has women's volleyball team has recently achieved a significant milestone. In the 2024-2025 season, they celebrated an undefeated season, marking a historic moment in the school's athletic history. This achievement makes them the only varsity team at Overbrook High to accomplish such a feat. So, you're talking about a high school that's almost 100 years old. Never ever won.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it's so big, right? However, it's worth nothing that not all matches have resulted in victories. For example, the team lost a match against Mastery Charter Shoemaker High School with a score of 0-3. Despite the loss, their overall performance has been remarkable, culminating in the undefeated season. So, you want to know more? Shout out to Overbrook. Go to Overbrook, holler at them.
Yeah.
Amazing young women who's been doing some amazing things. So, do you see a trend here?
Yeah, how do you feel?
I feel great about that because I'm starting to see a trend when it comes to success in athletics on the younger side of things, right? And it's good to see that people are being acknowledged and being recognized, especially our young folk.
Yeah.
That's something that's not negative. That's the point, right?
Right.
And a lot of things that we don't really, it's almost like how you say about the fashion world. Like they're looking at the fashion of the person, but who created, who designed it? It's the shout out to these teachers, these professors that are behind these kids that are either motivating them, pushing them, there in the morning with them, telling them they can do it. So shout out to the teachers and the whole, that whole team of staff or whoever is in that village for these young people and what they're doing because they're not doing it by themselves.
Yeah,
they definitely have those motivators.
Yeah, we've been talking about that, talking about the teachers, how important the teachers are, and they don't get recognized, very much underpaid. And I don't know if you have been seeing the teacher TikTok hashtags that a lot of these teachers are struggling in these schools. Some of the kids are not listening to them. They're having challenges in there in terms of the environment, the ecosystem. They're trying to keep the environment at a teachable pace, but it's not happening, and they're having a lot of physical challenges in there also. And so a lot of the teachers, they need some help, y'all. They need some help. They need money in there. They need to be paid. So keep continuing to talk to, talk to your legislators to see how we can get more funds in there, and talk to these principals also, because the last person who we had here mentioned that a lot of the principals has a lot of leeway and in terms of making asks for their school, so they got to do some work in there too. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. Let me go to Spark. I want you guys. I know, right? I don't want you guys to go in there. We'll be right back. Let's go to Roxanne first, and then we go to Fantastic.
Hey, this is Roxanne Shante. Your week cannot be complete unless you listen to or watch We Talk Weekly. Please believe me, baby.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers. If you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's going to make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers. And we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. That's what we trying to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with, I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together, and we just kept going. This one, her, this is one of my assistants here, one of like my biggest supporter, my biggest shooter here. She's an assistant. So we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band, just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a melody type way?
Yes.
Okay. So We Talk Weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We Talk Weekly, come and hear us. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. 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 We Talk Weekly, come and hear them.
We Talk Weeklies after the talk of WPPMRP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gergen, the beautiful
Classy Lady
and
Sparkle.
the beautiful.
Lauren Sizzle.
Can we cut that part out?
Yeah, we gonna cut. That's all right. Like, hey, sis, why don't you give me some? I know you got some more news in there. Find me another story. I'll holler at you, boy.
All right. So, the 97th Academy Awards are upon us. They're going down on actually tomorrow, March the 2nd at the Dolby Theater at Ovation Hollywood. So I was trying to think, like, have I seen any of these movies? Like, and it's, of course, you know, it's like honoring movies that were released in 2024. Yeah. And I'm just like, what was I doing in 2024? Because a lot of the lists I got like some stuff that I really want to see this person win. But actor in a leading role, the nominees were Adrian Brody from The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo, you know, Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes from Conclave, Ralph Fiennes, is it? Sebastian Stan from The Apprentice. So who y'all rooting for?
One more time.
I
said COVID shot, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Adrian Brody from The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet from A Complete Unknown, I done got his name backwards. Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes, Conclave, and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. I didn't see any of these movies, but I heard Sing Sing was really good. And you know, Coleman Domingo is from Philly, so like he gets my vote. Like,
oh, I didn't know that. He's from Philadelphia.
He's an awesome actor, and he went to my alma mater, the Temple University Klein College of Media and Communication.
All right,
and he went to Overbrook, didn't he? Yeah. So.
All right, just he a default then.
Yeah,
for me.
exactly.
That's who I want to win.
Exactly.
Because I ain't seen none of those movies.
I know. I said the same thing. I'm like, I got to do better. Actress in a leading role, Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez from the movie Amelia Perez. Mickey Madison, the movie Anora. Demi Moore, The Substance, and Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. That's a tough one. You know I got to go with my girl, Cynthia Erivo.
Send me this list because I need to know these 2024 movies. This is a shame. Like, where do they even, coming attractions, where do they play them at now?
I know.
Because everything is streaming. Like, I know we talked one time about the ads, but I don't see the ads like that.
Exactly. And then it's like, who has, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but who has time to sit down and watch a movie?
Yeah,
So
that part
like,
too. But you got the Netflix and chill type days. So it is times where you like more intentional.
True. That's true.
But I don't see the ads. It used to be a time you're watching regular
you don't
TV
see much of that.
and something comes across and you're like, oh, I want to see that. But now with all these streaming, I don't see it. Ads still come on, but I must. Me and the kids, we share streaming.
Right. Of
they
course.
must got the upgraded ones because I don't see a lot of ads.
Yeah, I know. And it's not what it used to be. You know how I used to see. Well, a lot of people aren't really watching like regular TV. You know, on regular TV, they're always showing like, oh, this movie coming out, that movie. But, you know, you don't see a lot of that now. And it's just like, you got to go to a movie to see the ads that they show for what's coming out. But I'm going to give it to Wicked. You know, that's the one with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande.
Right.
So I'm going to just go with them. Even though Demi Moore, I think this would be her first.
Oh wow.
For real?
Oscar, I
so,
think. Yeah.
Oh, they been
She
robbing.
should have
Yeah,
got
they
it
was-
for
yeah.
GI Jane. She did
Demi
amazing.
did a lot of work.
Exactly.
I
Ghost.
think
Yeah.
I think Meryl Streep was another one that they've been robbing for a long time. It's been a
Oh,
few
Meryl
people.
Streep, I
the
think
goat right
she
there.
That's
got
what I'm
her.
saying.
She got
Yeah, so
her
they've
her
been
just.
doing
I
her.
think
Yeah.
it's starting out. They was kind of, but we can continue to listen later.
All right, no doubt. We got a brother on waiting for an interview. Who, we this is the segment to which I have. I'm super excited about. Why? Because we get the opportunity to talk to the good old folk, right? And so, this gentleman is someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. So, who giving it to me today? Who want to do the honors today?
Okay. Go ahead, Sizzle. Go
All right,
ahead.
Sizzle, why don't you tell us who do we have today?
Oh, so we have the amazing Mr. Adam Emil. He is a cutting-edge R&B pop artist who was discovered by the platinum-selling group Color Me Bad in 2015, touring with them until their split in 2018. Now a long-time opening act for the enduring I Love the 90s tour, he continues to captivate audiences with his innovative sound and dynamic performances. So let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome for Mr. Adam Emil.
Yes.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
Awesome.
Hello.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you for having me. What's happening?
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I am doing well. Blessed by the best. Thank
I
you
know,
for
I
asking.
know that's right. Yeah, we usually ask that question because now is so much going on, in just every I guess every level that you can think of that.
Absolutely.
We love to check in with people and just make sure like how are you actually doing? Because a lot of times we say, hey, how are you doing in passing? It's just like your default is just like, oh, I'm doing good. But that's not always the case.
That is very true.
Yeah. So we're excited to have you. And we want to know more about you today. How did you get your start in music?
Well, just as a kid, playing piano and singing and listening to great records due to my father just always constantly playing music. And I guess it just was in my bones and in my spirit. A lot of musicians in my family, before me that came before me. And I guess that had something to do with it as well. But, constantly doing recitals as a young and 6, 7, 8 years old. And I never thought about it, but I was always in the music field, even as, in my younger years. When I got older, I wanted to start recording. So I had a BR532 4-track recorder. And I used to do my own things with that. And eventually that led to me in my collegiate years where I cut my first album. Started with a 3-song EP, then that turned to an album. Then that turned to me booking myself all throughout the city and going to Miami, doing shows in LA. And I did that for about 10 years. And then had to take 2 years to cool off, and Color Me Bad called, and it was a different phase of career at that point, touring the world with legends. So yeah, it started very early, I guess, in my life.
Wow. And it seems like, you were pretty much grinding this whole time because, just listening to your journey from beginning to when you actually did get the call from Color Me Bad, that you put in a lot of work.
Absolutely.
You put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was fun, but there were things that, most people or myself didn't want to have to do. But as you open yourself up to be comfortable being uncomfortable, it becomes a part of you. So just cold calling people or, scouring the internet for opportunities, networking, which is something that I love to do. But yeah, it was a process for sure.
Yeah. And what was it like, when you first actually got that call?
Well, I didn't know if it was the Color Me Bad that I thought of. I thought maybe it was a different group that was, titling them with the same name. But when I knew it was for real when they told me they were going to fly me to Singapore for my first interview. That's when I knew when things start kind of getting interesting, and I just thank God, and it was different. It was amazing. It was bittersweet because going all the way to Indonesia, I didn't know if they were kidnapping me or what the case was.
Adam, over the time, like with your career, has your definition of success changed now?
It has.
Tell us about that.
I mean, I think when I was starting out, probably in my college years, you have this concept of, you have to be famous or you have to be, super duper big or whatever the case be. And as I traveled the world with the legends, I saw that happiness is first. And then I noticed that the successes can sometimes be spaced out. And there are, for lack of a better term, dead periods, even with like actors having a big movie and then not having a role for 2 years. That time frame is important on how you conduct your life and how you keep your health, and what you do in that off season. So success for me now is, but it's more so just being happy, continuing to do what I love to do, reaching new people. And it's not about being the biggest artist in the world, but more so being somebody that people respect and a legacy that can be remembered.
Mm-hmm. And just for those watching, and you've definitely, like Sizzle said, you've put in some work, but for those watching, and he's talking about Color Me Bad, they were a group from the 90s that were, very hot, and I found myself singing, I wanna sex you up.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yeah, that was a little risque at the time.
I know you're not gonna sing that song. Like what? So Adam, let us know, like when the lights go out, when the crowd cheering is calmer, who is Adam Emile? Who is he?
When the lights go out, I mean, I'm definitely a family guy. I'm definitely a very spiritual guy. My mind is always operating and working. I'm always trying to find ways to uplift my fellow brothers and sisters. I'm always trying to find ways to be the best friend I can be to those that are close to me. I would like to give myself credit for I believe, being a good listener to others. I'm humble. I think I'm a very fun guy to be around. I'm a Virgo, if that means anything to anybody. So
Was that September Virgo? Or?
Yeah, September 6th. Yeah.
Okay.
So, see. So that can help pinpoint some personality things as well. But ultimately, just a family guy, extreme lover of music and making great sounds and music, and just wanting to be a good person to everybody that I come in contact with.
Awesome. Well, it says that you're touring or opening acts for the I Love the 90s tours. Tell us how that's nostalgic. Tell us how the crowd is acting, and even some of the with yourself opening in some of the other guests.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-year run that I had with Color Me Bad was phenomenal. They had some internal situations. So my stay ended after 3 years, and the fact that I was able to make the right connections and right relationships to be able to stay around that tour in a different capacity as a solo artist for 5 additional years and going, can't be overlooked. But the crowds are always ready to come out and have a good time. They're wearing their 90s gear. We got acts like Rob Bass and Tone Loc, Vanilla Ice, Young MC. Color Me Bad is actually doing shows in the new capacity. You got Montel Jordan. We did shows with TLC. Salt and Pep was a big part of the headlining space when I was, when we were doing our largest amount of shows. So I had to. I end up having a good relationship with the ladies as well, which was phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, we've been to Canada and The crowds are always insane over there. They are always ready to party. But yeah, it's a once in a lifetime experience.
You naming some artists that was in the 80s and 90s. Hold on, let me give you a shout out real quick. Hold
Hey,
on.
this is Roxanne Shante, and your week cannot be complete unless you listen to or watch We Talk Weekly. Please believe me, baby.
Gotta throw her in there. You named some greats in that lineup. How was it to be, amongst some of those huge names? And sometimes when those people are mentioned, we it's this nostalgic feeling, right? And so
Yeah.
you're part of that kind of ecosystem now. How does that feel?
It feels incredible. I thank God all the time for it. To be able to learn from people that are 30 plus years in the industry can't be overlooked. The longevity, like I say, that time that fans don't see is critical. You're on stage, minimal 15 minutes to an hour, but life happens in the rest of that time, So you can't have bad habits. You can't be speeding on the freeway in your nice cars. And, it's a lot of things that can go wrong. So I think 30 years plus hanging with those people, getting secrets from them, finding out what they do in their lives outside of music to secure their families in different ways. Just being friends with them. I mean, we hang out all the time. Tone calls me every time he's in the city. Tone is like a big brother to me. Coolio was a big brother to me. Rest in peace.
Man. Yeah, rest in peace.
He was such an amazing spirit. I mean, it's incredible, man. Only God could have done something like this, man. I would have never dreamed in a million years that they would find me on YouTube and I'd be touring with Salt and Pepper, Never would have thought.
Wow. Give us like you said on YouTube, give us a little bit of music from Adam and Mill for the people who haven't heard or any of your songs.
Yeah, you mean like songs that I have out now currently?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So my new single is titled Enough. Thank you for asking. Featuring Cordy Blocka. It's available on all streaming platforms. It's an island vibe, great feel, love song. You'll love it. You can play it with the children in the room. You don't have to be afraid. And yeah, run those numbers up on that. Give me some feedback on my IG, which is adam.emil. And then I have more music that's coming. I have a new single that's coming out very soon. But if you look on my pages, you'll see some older music that I have put out before this new project. But I want to make sure I keep the light shined on my new single, Enough.
That's what's up.
I want to know, one thing I want to know is, because you kind of mentioned something that made me think of this. We're in this era where there's this huge debate as to R&B. Where is it? It's no more R&B. It's this new music, this new, a genre that's dominating kind of music or what we grew up with. What's your take on that? Do you feel like R&B is lost now? Do you feel like it's coming back? Do you feel like it will ever come back? Do you feel like we're just innovating and we're on to something new? What's your take on that? Because you come from the golden era of R&B,
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. I think it is being innovated. I don't think R&B is dead at all. R&B is actually on the come up right now in major ways. I mean, if you talk about artists like SZA, that's R&B.
Yeah, definitely.
So R&B is, it's so many beautiful women that are singing amazing songs and getting the recognition they deserve that are in the R&B classification. Chris Brown is dominating the R&B field. You got so many artists like Mario that are coming, still doing projects, and so many new young men that are coming out, Jacquees and Adam and Mill. There's so many of us that are making solid music. I think it's on the come up. Yeah.
So when you think of those particular artists, are there any that stands out to say, yo, I want to be on a stage with that? Or even, do they get you so inspired that you feel like writing,
Yeah, I mean, Chris Brown, a lot of Chris Brown, I mean, he makes so much music.
Yeah, you got
But you know, some of those records are just like, man, dude, like how many people were in the room with you? Like this is incredible, you know. But that's just the top of the food chain, man. The top writers, top producers, top singer. Bruno Mars does that to me too, man.
Shout out to Bruno,
Yeah, his writing, the lyrics, you know, they definitely have deeper meaning than a lot more music than I hear. You know, I didn't say that properly, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, so I like his focus on the lyrics. Even that song he has with Lady Gaga now, like you know, just meaningful lyrics, great melodies. So those two definitely inspire me. But I'm inspired by many.
Yeah.
But those are the top two that I think. Yeah.
You mentioned some of the greats that Chris Brown. One of the songs that stood out for me, I believe he wrote this is what did he say? It's never a right time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
From the arrangement to the lyrics, everything. And so you, after you said that, I was like, yeah. Not only does he have an extensive catalog. Did we go out? It looked like we went out. Not only do we have he has an extensive catalog. He's just a great artist altogether.
Amazing talent.
Yes, absolutely. If you was to think of how can I put it? Think of the perfect concert with you're on it. You know, what would that be?
I mean, a lot of ways to do that one. I mean, you know, whether we're doing, you know, 2,000 artists with artists like, you know, Nelly or Ja Rule, you know, I still got upbeats that would fit into that. We're thinking R&B, I would think like Neo, you know, and, you know, Miguel or something like that. And you got to throw one of the female artists in there as well. You know, so I mean, it's a lot of ways to do it, man. You can go Music Soul Child. And,
okay, you coming to Philly? Okay, I like the Philly thing. Okay,
you know, you can go about it a lot of different ways, man. And that's something that I try to work my catalog into being able to be on multiple type of stages and not just, you know, can only do one thing. A lot of the shows that I do now are in the nightclub, hip hop shows, you know, and I'm up there trying to make. I'm singing, you know, but I make sure I do upbeat songs because I'm opening up for Twister in April, you know, and that's, you know, that's certified hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
So, Adam, do you write your own music?
I've been working with a producer on this last project. I do write my own music, but for this project, I collaborated with the producer Toxic.
Nice.
And we put together some magic. Yeah.
All right. So tell us, how do you get prepared for that mentally? Like, how do you prepare yourself to just have, you know, sometimes how to overcome those creative blocks when writing or producing?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, time spent. You have to embrace those moments as well, too, though, because that is what sharpens your talent, your skill, and your pencil. Yeah, you have to face those head on. It's like raindrops. You know, you try to call on the higher being to drop you a gem, and sometimes he's busy. And you have to sit through that and wait, you know, but while continuing to push forward, and those magic things will happen. I've been in the studio and couldn't get the last line, and then by the time I got home, I heard it, and I got it, you know. So just time in the studio, experience will help you overcome the doubt that those blocks can create.
Right.
And you know, when you do have those blocks and those challenges, that means that song is worth it. Because if you were writing about love or sex is the word I want to say, it's not as difficult as writing about something, you know, deeper, you know, world peace or something like that, you know. So yeah.
So you mentioned something about when you said the greats. It's so funny because, like, I was watching the Super Bowl in the halftime, and Kendrick Lamar, and, you know, he sampled Luther Vandross, you know, and it's a lot of them, Roberta Flack, a lot of them who just left, you know, went on home to glory. And a lot of kids don't even know at this generation who they are. So what's your take on, sampling some of the greats to just, magnify them so that they can still be relevant and their music lives on?
I mean, I think they're lucky to be able to do that the labels will pay that, because I know the estates of Luther and all of those people aren't budging on rights and the royalties and whatever the fee is. So that's definitely top of the food chain to be able to sample a Luther Vandross song. So I look forward to being able to do some things like that one day. Again, it revives those records as well too. It brings new light to them, a new audience to them. And so the kids still may hear the sample and think it's original, right? But the radio knows that this money goes to the Luther Foundation, to Luther Estate. And then the older generation, I shouldn't say, I don't always like using the word older, but the more grown-up generation knows that's a Luther record. And then you'll hear more top 40 radio stations or what do we call it? Contemporary radio. They'll start to spin that record even more because it's getting hot in the urban genre, so it revives it. So I think it's a gift that keeps on giving.
When you say the Luther, shout out to Luther. He has a new documentary on, I want to say the PBS Docs or something like that. I think it's that. Yeah, it's amazing
Hulu
too. Hulu. Yeah. It's amazing too. And because you mentioned that, who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
Ooh, man, how many do I get? 4, right?
You're only 4. I know, right? That's hard. Yeah.
Ooh, well, I'm not gonna think too deep about it. So I would have to say Stevie Wonder. I would have to say Bob Marley. I would have to say, ooh, it's starting to get tricky now.
Yeah, you're getting down to the last.
It's starting to get tricky. Oh man, I mean, you know what? I'd have to say Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Representing the women up there. And I mean, last but not least, shucks, it could be so many people.
Yeah.
Do they have to be gone?
Michael Jackson.
Oh, they gotta be.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
You know what? We was just arguing about Michael Jackson, and I think he's. If you was to think about, right, the greatest song in history, I think it would have to come from Michael Jackson. Yeah.
The greatest song in history.
Yeah.
And what would that be?
It would either have to be Thriller or Billie Jean.
Nah.
You don't think so?
No.
How are we grading it though? Because
I know. I see.
Nah.
I'm keeping it light because that's hard, right? That's hard to do because we can say, to me, I think he's the greatest entertainer of all time.
Yeah.
But then someone can say, well, how are you rating that, right?
He got so many hits.
But I had to give it to him. But then,
but it's a genre too.
That.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So since you said that, right? Who would you think is the greatest male group of all time?
Greatest male group of all time.
Of all time.
Well, I mean, I guess we kind of got to say the Beatles, right?
No.
The greatest male group of all. I mean, because after the Beatles, I must be forgetting somebody. I would say the freaking Temptations, but
yeah, you got the Four Tops, you got the Whispers, you got
I'm
the
calling
OJs,
New Edition.
You got
I said it's New Edition.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking
now you're talking about eras and genres.
You know.
See, and the reason I say New Edition,
I don't,
is because New Edition is the only who has a longer catalog than them.
Yeah.
I would have to check.
It ain't nothing to check. You talking about because even the Temptations, they didn't start out.
The Isley Brothers have a huge one. You know how long they've been? They went from 6 members to like 2.
Yeah, but they didn't have as many. They didn't have as many like pop hits than New Edition. And
well, that's because you ain't living that time.
No, they did. You look at the catalog. You can look at the catalog.
That catalog is crazy.
No, who's listening to the Temptation that's older than us?
That's why I said you didn't live in
that.
No,
but what I'm saying is, people who's older than us are still listening to New Edition. And you talking about great. You're talking about, all right, cool. So I'll put it this way. And this is your interview. I'm sorry, my brother.
Look, you see how it be going?
Look, we talk weekly, so we talk a lot. You know what I mean? All right, so this is the thing. This is my defense, right? Even if you say the Osley Brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of the Osley Brothers had more success than only Ron Osley.
But you can't
But
say.
New Edition, you got Ronnie. You got BBD. You got Bobby Brown. You got Ralph Tresvant. You got Johnny Gill. You come on.
They went solo, but so did the Osleys.
And they came back. No, but that's what I'm saying. So who out of Ron Osley do you remember as notable?
Well, that's not my generation.
No, it's a question I got.
Okay.
Answer the question.
The brothers, he had diabetes.
You got to think about it.
No,
You're thinking too much. Go ahead, my brother.
Goodness. Because it's not my generation, but the stats and the facts show that they all went and did solo careers.
We're not talking about just went and did it. So we're talking about successful. Notable.
Okay, Ralph Tresvant was not that successful with his sensitivity and his other one.
Yeah,
The BBD, they did a little bit of whatever. Johnny Gill, yeah.
It ain't no thinking about Johnny
Bobby
Gill.
Brown, absolutely.
Yeah.
BBD,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They're cultural phenoms. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying we don't know their music, but I'm talking about.
And they're a
stats.
group out of a. They're a group out of a group.
I think you need to reiterate the question.
You see how passionate we get? Now I'm going to Google. Let me go to my
Google. Go to Google and just tell me I'm right. Is no other group, even with the Temptations, that I say okay, because I could say Earth, Wind and Fire. Honestly,
I was going to say
when you talk
talk
about musically though, right?
Yeah,
Earth, Wind and Fire, you got to give it to all of them were like musicians.
Yeah,
so that's the difference, right? But when you talk about success. Phenomenal success. You talking about since Candy Girl. Ron Osley they didn't have no Candy Girl.
Yeah.
Right? You talking about from Candy Girl all the way to
okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Chris
let's
Jasper.
Who?
He was part of the Osley Brothers. He released the album, started with Kiss and like Chris, Ron Osley, Ernie Isley, like they all did solo careers.
Okay.
Now, I would have to come back to tell you how
exactly. That's my point.
They were.
That's my point, though. We're talking about success. We're not talking about just a spinoff and I did an album. We're talking about notable albums. I give you Ralph Tresvant because but the sensitivity situation, it was okay. But you're talking about all of them, all of them.
So just to reiterate. What was Adams for again?
It was. Go ahead.
Well, Mount Rushmore or
you're Mount Rushmore. Yep.
Oh, Stevie Wonder, Bob Marley,
Whitney
Houston, and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I like that.
Tough one. That's a
that
tough
one hard.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a good one because you put Whitney Houston, arguably one of the greatest R&B singers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, you can't even because who you gonna put up there with her?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah.
It's like she's in a league of her own.
Yeah.
You're not.
And even if you mention, say for example, Beyonce, because I think she's probably one of the greatest of all time. One of them. You can't even compare her vocally to Whitney Houston. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston is the only musician, right, vocalist who I have never heard of anyone debate whether she could sing or not.
Yeah,
I have heard that with Beyonce. And I think she can sing. I don't get where they say she can't sing. But I don't want to say I'm part of the Bayhive, but I like Beyonce.
Yeah.
But I would never compare her to Whitney Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. And I think with that being said, like, Adam, where do you see the direction of R&B going?
Yeah.
Because I feel like over the last couple decades, it's transformed into so many different dynamics of
different breakdowns of the genre. I think a lot of that has to do with the consumers and what they support. I think the labels are starting to catch on to what's popular and what's popping. Yeah. If we can get out of put a little bit more money into R&B, it'll probably come from some of the newer hip hop artist genres. A lot of them are having trouble with the law and losing their lives, and so it's only right that you kind of push some of that money in different areas. So I feel very positive about where R&B is shifting to. Yeah, I mean, I look forward to that. I mean, that's a great question. I haven't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we need more people to be able to get back out there and call themselves the self-proclaimed king of R&B or queen of R&B or whatever. Like, we need more of that. We need more of that. Yeah.
So what's next for Adam Emil? What's next for you, my brother?
Man, I appreciate it. Well, we got this new single dropping coming up soon. I'll let you know the date when the label lets me know. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to drop this new single titled Don't Let Go. And we got music videos coming out for both of my projects. I'm doing that show opening up for Twister in April. That's in Aurora, Illinois. We're doing some 90 shows coming up this summer. I'm just, continuing to network and meet my fans and reaching out to other business partners and things like that. We're working on an amphitheater out here where we can bring other guests, my friends in, and we can put on concerts. So we're working on that as well. So I'm just excited, man, just keeping it going and, collabing with other artists and writing new material, just doing what artists do best.
Fantastic.
Adam.
Yes.
Before you go, and I kind of
Here she
asked
go.
earlier.
Here she go. Here she go.
Before you
Here she
go, give us a little something a cappella style.
Oh, you want me to sing?
A little something for the viewers that's watching.
Let's see what I got. Let's see. Craving your body all through the night. Feels like I'm under withdrawal. I wanna hold you and put you inside of these arms. I'm gonna stop it there.
Oh, yeah.
Gave me chills.
Thank you. Yeah, I was out at the club last night kicking it and partying until 5 in the morning. So no excuse.
Yeah, that was hot. That was. Thank you. We appreciate that. That was great.
Thank you.
I love that.
So sorry we had you on a little longer. We like you, my brother, so we had you on a little bit longer.
I love it. I appreciate it. Let's go.
What I mean? So look, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you? Got to send us some music so we can play it on the station.
You didn't get the music?
Nah, we didn't get the music.
Oh,
we would have introed that. We gonna make sure that we get the music.
Okay,
make
I'll
sure
send
that we
to you
spin
right
it
away.
down here. You know what I'm saying? In Philly, shout out to Philly. Shout out to Philly. Go Birds. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take a little break right here and just acknowledge the Birds. Go Birds. Shout out to Philadelphia Eagles, man. We needed that. Philly needed that type of love right now. We got the W in there. Hold up, real quick.
Adam at?
I like you, Adam. Who was you rooting for?
Oh, I was rooting for Philly, man.
Let's give Adam a round of applause. Man.
Yeah, my sister lived in Philly for some time, and I visited her out there a lot, so I was going for Philly. Nothing against the Kansas City Chiefs, but it was Philly's time.
It really was. And real quick, you mentioned something about Twister, man. I want to give Twister his props too, because I think not only is he one of the most underrated, rappers, hip hop artists out there, he don't get mentioned enough, but also I think he's in a league of his own, and he started a genre of hip hop that no one gives credit to. You know what I'm saying? He the one that spearheaded a lot of that. So I'm gonna give Twister a little shout out coming from Philly,
Absolutely.
man. So I would love to hear more about your concert, man. When y'all put this whole thing together in the amphitheater, you gotta keep us posted. But go ahead, let us know how they can get in contact with you, get your music, all that good old stuff.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. My website is adamemil.com, ADAMEMIL.com. Follow me on IG. I'll hit you back. It's adam.emil. And also TikTok, adam.emil. Check out my Spotify, run up the numbers for me, and feel free to share the music when you check it out. Hope you love it.
Fantastic. Real quick, what's one last fact? Give us a quick Snapple fact about Adam Emil. Something that no one else knows.
Snapple fact?
Yeah.
That nobody else knows.
Nobody else knows.
There might be a reason for that. No, I'll just playing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, Snapple.
Digging them crates.
Yeah, so
you gotta give us one.
Yeah, now you gotta give it. When you say I don't know, I'm gonna push you a little harder.
I mean, a Snapple fact that nobody else knows about me. I mean, that makes me feel like my maybe most embarrassing moment or something like that. But I mean, you know, there was one time I was doing a show and I was in the backyard of a big house in an event space, and they had me come over and do a concert, and the house was so expensive, the screen looked see-through, and I had to go take a break in between my sets, and I walked dead into the screen, and everybody saw it. You know, I mean, that's like embarrassing moment, you know. So you know, but yeah.
So you put your hand out now when you walk on.
I'm telling you, yeah, you doggone right. Like, is there something right there?
I would too.
I did not see the screen. I promise you.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
My guy Adam Emil, y'all. One more time, how they can get in contact with you, all that good old stuff.
Check me out on IG, y'all. Adam.emil. That's ADAM.EMIL. I'll be looking for you and waiting on you. Appreciate
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want you to go anywhere. When we come back, we got a story. We got a story yet?
Yeah.
All right, we got a story. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this show. I'm your boy Charles Gregg with the beautiful,
Classy Lady Sparkle,
and the beautiful
Lawrence,
and my guy
Adam Emil.
Yep,
Thank
and
y'all.
Absolutely. We see you on the other side. Don't go nowhere, y'all. Peace. We talk weeklies after the talk of WPPMLP Philadelphia. 106.5. I hope I got tongue twisted out of it. I forgot where I was for a minute. 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregg and the beautiful
Classy Lady
and
Sparkle,
the beautiful
Lawrence.
All right, so you already know what's going on. Why don't you give us a story, something that's popping out here in these streets today?
Yeah, unfortunately, just a little sad note that Grammy-nominated R&B singer Angie Stone was killed in a car accident early Saturday morning. According to reports, Angie Stone and several others
This morning?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, Angie Stone and several others were traveling back to Atlanta from Alabama, and at 4 a.m., the car they were traveling in flipped over and was subsequently hit by a big rig. So Angie Stone was pronounced dead at the scene, and the Alabama Highway Patrol had released a statement saying that their 2021 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van turned over on Interstate 65 at about 4:25 a.m. Saturday before being hit by a 2021 Freightliner Cascadia truck driven by a 33-year-old man from Texas. So sadly, everyone in the vehicle survived except Angie Stone. So Angie's children, Diamond and Michael Archer, said in a statement, "Never in a million years did we ever expect to get this horrible news. We are still trying to process and are completely heartbroken." And Angie was pivotal in helping form the group Sequence, the first all-female group on Sugar Hill Records. And Angie had hits such as No More Rain, Wish I Didn't Miss You, Brother, and so many more. And she was in the neo-soul movement with Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Lauryn Hill, Macy Gray, and so many others. And Angie Stone shared a son with singer D'Angelo. She was 63 years old. So rest in peace to her. Yes. Prayers up for the families. This is such a tragic loss. It's horrible that, everybody survived. And
that's like that survivor's guilt, when everyone else. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's just
and then great,
horrible.
Gratitude too. Like that could have been them.
Yeah. It's horrible.
And I think they were coming from a show or going to a show.
Yeah, they were coming from a show, and I think she actually had another show today, which, of course, they had a moment of silence or something for her at that event. But it's Oh man.
And as our last guest, Adam and Mill, was talking, like there's been so many 90s tours. She's been extremely busy with putting on different tours. So
yeah.
such heartbreaking.
Yeah, she was just, oh man, she was awesome. She was awesome, and she did so much in the industry, and it's just to have your life, and 63 is young, you know what I mean? And just have her life cut short. It's just,
there's no more rain in this.
Oh,
or
man.
my black brother.
Yeah, that one was cool. I'm glad she did that.
Yes.
She didn't. She definitely ain't look her age.
No, she
And,
looked good.
She looked amazing. And I don't know, man. It's just sad when we lose someone who we have grown up with or grown up paying attention to. You know, so it's always hard to hear when, you know, we lose one of the greats, and she's one that can be positioned as black excellence. You know, yeah. So you know, we send our condolences, love and support to her and her family, and I'm sure that the next BT Awards they'll probably do a tribute to her, as they should.
Yeah,
she got a nice little catalog also. Yeah.
Yes. All right, so pivoting back to the Oscars conversation. So the costume design, the nominees, are just wondering what, because see, you might have seen some of these movies me and Mrs. Park can't see. But so the nominees was A Complete Unknown. This is costume design. A Complete Unknown.
That's the move. That's the name of the movie.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
A
the
Complete
movie's
Unknown.
name is A Complete Unknown.
Okay.
The designer is Ariane Phillips. The next nominee is Conclave, and the designer is Lissy Crystal. And then the next nominee is Gladiator 2.
Oh, I seen that on Thanksgiving. I did see that.
Janty Yates and Dave Crossman.
Costume design.
Yeah, so they're both nominated, and then Nosferatu. Anybody see that?
Who?
Nosferatu.
Nosfer.
Nosfer.
Oh, Nosferatu. Is it a T?
Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah, absolutely.
And the
I gotta
designer
watch
is
that.
Linda Muir.
Linda
Muir.
She's gonna win that.
You think so?
She's definitely gonna win that. Yeah.
And then the other one is Wicked. Paul Tazewell.
No,
Wicked has some. Yeah, Wicked has some.
Yeah, no,
costumes.
they definitely taking that. Yeah. Wow, they didn't come up.
No. Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be a tough one right there. Cause what did y'all think about Gladiator? Like the costume.
That was cool. They I think when we talk about originality and creativity, though,
Gladiator was good.
Gladiator was good, but not. We talking about costume design though, not necessarily the movie. We talking about costume.
Yeah, costume design. Yeah,
and
the
so
movie itself,
yeah, I mean,
I'm looking at the costumes. It wasn't something that it wasn't created before. You know what I mean? When I watch the other Gladiators or Spartans
that's my
and
point.
all of that, like it's not like I've not seen that look.
Right.
That's why now, as I look at Wicked, right, I'm thinking that maybe because we seen all of this.
Bridgerton.
Yeah. And what?
Like, I don't
no,
know.
but we seen kind of the Wicked Witch, and we seen like because if you
Wizard of
think
Oz.
of what's the movie, the pink, what's the movie that just came out last year,
Barbie. Yeah, with all the pink.
They did all the pink, and it was a gown like that in there, like they did all the pink. So I don't see this standing out only because of maybe the names attached to this. They might take it because you know how that go.
Right.
But this other movie, this one right here, Nosferatu, what is it called?
Nosferatu.
Yeah, Nosferatu, and I think this is in French or something, right? I can't remember. But when we talk about just costume design. If we truly talking about costume design, man. And that's right. This was a remake. This was the remake of the original.
Is this a drama?
It's a
Is
horror
it
It's a
film.
horror. It's a horror film. But yeah.
What's it on now? Oh, it is on. Wait, is it on Netflix?
It might be on Netflix or Prime. Let me see.
They might get that.
Cause
From
it's
what I'm seeing.
2024. Yeah.
Oh, I see Peacock.
Oh, okay. That's Prime. Well, you can see it through Prime, I think, on Peacock. Yeah.
I have to see that. Yeah, and then the last one, which is usually like, isn't this the one that they save for the end of the show, the best picture?
Best
Isn't
picture.
that the one they saved to the end?
Best picture? Yeah.
They have a lot of nominees in here. You got
This movie?
Anora.
You said no. Oh, you talking? We on another list of best picture. All right, my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went to best picture. I was saying that they have a lot of nominees in this category, but they have Anora. I haven't seen it. The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez.
That was good.
You did see that?
Dune? I seen Dune.
The first one or the...
Both of them. Both of them.
Oh, okay.
They're on Netflix.
Yeah, they both on Netflix.
I need your list, Sizzle.
Anora.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
we
you
need
could
to
just sit
They
and
need to
watch.
go to the site.
You said Anora, Dune, and what else was it?
Anora, it was Dune Part 2.
Yeah, that was good.
Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here. Amelia Perez, that's the one that what's her name played in? The one that played
Oh, my girl Zoe.
yeah.
You know,
Saldana.
this was in it was some type of conflict based around
Was
this
it?
movie. Yeah. Because I think the way that they portrayed, I think that this is a Mexican movie or was
Amelia
a
Perez.
Mexican centered movie.
Okay.
And a lot of the, I believe, actors were not Mexican. And so, or no, something along the lines of they portrayed them as stereotypical jobs.
Can a viewer
like
see this, the
clean-
page?
Oh, no, let me see. I had it on you the whole time, my bad. Let me share this. But they were talking about, there you go. They were talking about, so I seen it on TikTok and they was a little upset that, you know, some of the scenes were stereotypically driven by way of what we would think immigrants that come to America would work, right? So there was a lot of maids and stuff like this. So they were a bit upset about that, and I could see that. I mean, no one wants a stereotypical role. Like literally, case in point, I'm tired of seeing, you know, movies where all the black guys got cornrows and shooting or convicts or
Cornrows.
something like that. Yeah, they still don't like yo. We don't even wear that no more.
Because
Why are
it
we
used to
doing
be
it?
they were like pimps.
Merge
crazy.
you.
They don't do the pimps no more. So
Yeah, it's like, come on, what are y'all doing
they're
here?
not pimps.
He said, we don't even wear that.
Why
no
don't
more.
they wear that no more? What are y'all doing here, right? You know what I'm saying? And so, what's the other one? So it was Amelia
I'm
Perez.
Still Here.
Let me see. I'm Still Here.
And then you have Nickel Boys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was pretty cool.
I'm Still Here was good.
And
And then you got Nickel Boys.
Nickel Boys. I haven't heard of that one. Nickel Boys. Let me write that.
Nickel Boys.
Yeah.
And then
I haven't seen this
you
one
didn't see
either.
that one.
No. Interesting.
And then you got The Substance.
I like the name though.
Nickel
I
Boys.
know. I was thinking that.
I'm gonna
I
have
like
to check that one
Nickel
out.
Boys.
Yeah.
What is it about? A new American masterpiece, as they say. What's the other one?
The Substance.
Oh, that's with Demi, right?
Yeah, I think that's the one with Demi Moore.
That's my girl, man. Like I like.
She looks great.
Yeah,
She
does.
looks great.
She does.
When she's in her 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies is Ghost. You know, you got one of them old movies that you always go to.
Oh, this was the one where they said they did a you know, when he come in and be like, here's Johnny.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson in what movie was that?
That was
not
Jo-
the Omen.
Joker?
It was the.
No, that was a Joker. That was
Well, I want to say The Breaking, but no, it was the something.
Shining.
The Shining.
The Shining,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so so they paralleled a video where they showed how certain scenes match to that, and so they kind of did a homage, I think, to some of the things. I'm gonna watch this tonight, man. Yeah, man.
What's this one called?
The
The
Substance.
Substance. Come on, that's my girl, man. Shout out to Demi. I used to. I think she was one of my first crushes when I was young.
She was beautiful. Yeah, she was so pretty. And then the last one is Wicked.
Wicked. We could get Wick out of here.
I'm supporting it though because of Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah. She's not my favorite, but
She has an amazing voice though. Like she's
I
extremely
haven't heard
talented.
her sing.
You got it.
I probably
man.
did.
It would
I
give
know
you
it was
chills.
her.
I'm telling you.
But I
But
think,
she does that.
oh,
that
that's
little-
her.
yeah.
Okay.
The thing about those PG movies, though, is that kids can go opposed to the R movies. So you're going to have a family of 5 versus a family of 2 because you gotta leave.
That's
You know what I'm
real.
saying?
Yeah.
So ticket sales are higher
That's
when
true.
you have.
You
I
can have
didn't
the
even
whole
think of that.
family.
Yeah.
That
I
is
didn't
true.
even think of
yeah.
that. But even let me see. I want to say, so if I go back to, so Dune 2 was best movie. That was in there for best movie.
That was Best Picture.
Best Picture. But even, I'm surprised this wasn't in there for costume design.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
They had some- yeah, I
they
like
had
that.
some great stuff, great looks in there. I mean, when you talk about, because if you're gonna put Wicked in there, if you're gonna put like, what's the other movie you did for costume design? I forgot.
It's a Gladiator.
Gladiator, like this fits right along.
fits in
there.
with that.
Absolutely. When we talk about costume design, so they got robbed from this. They should have definitely been in there. This was really
Did
good.
you have any other stories, though, Sizzle?
That was it.
I wanted to, since we're talking about the Oscars, we gave Angie Stone our flowers. Same with Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
They actually found him and his wife in their Mexico home, passed away.
And that was crazy.
Yeah, I think he was, 93?
5.
95. Wow. Yeah. And I think
She
the
was
dog,
63.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the dog as well.
Yeah.
I didn't
What
see.
in the world?
I didn't see Liberty's post. He said Shining. Yeah, he called it The Shining. And look, he said I usually don't watch sci-fi, but Substance is really good. See, I gotta
see it
watch
now.
this.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I
see it
gotta
now.
watch this. Appreciate you. All right, well there you have it. We already passed our time. That went pretty fast. I mean, we was talking. We was just running our mouth. So I appreciate all you guys. Let me come back out of here. Everybody who's been watching today. Yeah, tune in for next week. I'm your boy Charles Gray with the beautiful
Lauren Sizzle.
and the beautiful.
Class Lady Sparkle.
That was autopilot.
That's how it's
we talk
supposed to
weekly, y'all,
be.
so don't go. We see you. We see you next week, y'all. We out here like last year. Peace.
Peace, y'all.